Ugne, how are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm doing incredibly well. Did I get the name right? Did I get the pronunciation right?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I know a lot of people are struggling and they look at this and they're like, what is this? So, but yeah, it was great.
I'm going to butcher the last name, so I'll stick with the first name. But could you give us an intro into who you are, the work that you're doing?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Ugne and I am an investor at Byfounders. So we basically before joining Byfounders, I worked for another VC in London and I had a stint at corporate life cycle as well. So I was working at Morgan Stanley for 3.5 years as their quant analyst with hedge fund clients and also helping them a little bit on the Inclusive Labs Ventures, which is their in-house early stage accelerator for diverse founders. And have been a founder myself before I joined the two dark sides, as people say. I don't know which one you call the dark side, which one is not the dark
I
side,
think they're
but
both the dark side
everyone
today.
is posting on LinkedIn saying like I'm joining VC, the dark side. People are saying then oh, I'm joining corporate job, it's the dark side. So I don't know which one is darker.
You've done it all.
um Yes, I mean not all of it. It's like it's just the beginning, of my collection of dark sides I'm gonna go to. But yeah, nevertheless, happy to be here. And a little bit about Byfounders. I don't know if you want to know that now or
Oh,
later. We can chat
absolutely. We're
about
going to get into it. It feels like
it.
as you collect these dark sides, let's hope you don't become the Sith Lord in all of this. Although
Like literally yesterday, I was watching Lord of the Rings third part, and it's a little secret. I don't really like Lord of the Rings trilogy, but it's controversial, I know. But I had to like watch it, the recap for the first 10 minutes before watching the third one because I cannot remember anything, and I was like slowly embarking on the third one because my boyfriend really cares about it. So I'm like, okay.
have you watched the Amazon Prime show? I thought they were quite good. They did a lot of justice for. I know the community
No, I
doesn't.
haven't seen it. I haven't seen it actually, but maybe that's the next thing I should put on my to-do list of things I should do. But yeah, that's definitely one of those I should pay attention more.
Yeah, definitely. If like the most cracked engineers on the planet are watching it, I guess you have to too from
Yeah,
time to time.
exactly. Exactly. I'm just trying to tune in with everyone, so then trying to catch up on my Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and all the, different types of trilogies out there.
I've got to ask then. It's not a question I get to ask often, but I'm probably going to ask it to more VCs. Are you a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, can I be front and frank? I don't like any of them.
Yes, you absolutely can.
I don't like any of those things. I'm very much into more like an Inception person. I like the mystery stuff of all the games within the games of the games, and then living in a dream kind of world. So like if I had to choose all between the two, I wouldn't choose any. I would just go watch Inception or something more dark and deep.
I'm a big Nolan fan. I think the crux of the question was the fact that a lot of time you get Star Wars being attributed to a capitalist environment and you get Star Trek being
Mm.
attributed to a communist environment. But I think we all
Yeah.
start as Trekkie fans and then realize the reality is Star Wars.
I guess that's one way of putting it, but and if you think outside of the box, not being a capitalist or communist, you just go a third alternative path of being a creative entrepreneur, I guess, in this way, or like trying to think outside of the box in this way. I don't know. I've just never been into any of these science fiction trilogy, Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Ring things. So you can throw rocks at me. It's just that something I was never into. But I'm changing. I'm slowly learning how to understand it and appreciate the art of it and all the, inside jokes that people use all the time around me. And I didn't understand. Now I do understand some of it. So, we live and learn, as they say.
We love to see it. Speaking of the game inside the game inside the game, I've got to ask. It's one of the most
Yeah.
ethereal questions that I come across when we think about VC. How the hell do you find your alpha?
Ah, that's the hardest thing, and that's what we're all trying to figure out. And that's not only applicable to VCs, like every single person in the world is trying to find alpha, whether that's you trying to create the next Picasso or like you writing some sort of like an interesting novel, or like me and my corporate job helping all the hedge funds find their own alpha because everything is becoming super priced in into the market. So everyone is basically losing the more data you have, the more it is available to everyone else, right? So it's really hard to figure out what else is out there to really like dig deeper into to get that alpha out there. When it comes to my alpha or how we think about it, like what we're trying to do is we even have a whole session about it next week. But essentially, I figured that the data is everywhere. So if I'm seeing this founder on LinkedIn saying I'm in the stealth startup, I bet through my arm 15 more VCs are already talking to him, and a lot of people are already like seeing that as well. So I think the real alpha comes down to like your specific unique things. And that's what they told me on the first thing when I joined VC as a space. They're like, find your alpha and find a way you source deals uniquely to yourself. And I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. Like, how did you do that? Speaking to a partner that has been there for 15 years, he's like, well, it's my connections. I'm like, well, is it going to take me 15 years to build all the connections? I don't know. It's like, that's a little bit of a slow alpha development there, if I have to say. But yeah, so there's different ways, right? Everyone does it differently. Some people use their connections and have a lot of little birds chirping around telling them stuff. Some people actually like have been the founders themselves, so they have angel invested a lot and they have a lot of deal flow coming from that. And for people that are in neither of the categories, which is i.e. me, I have to find my own ways of doing it. So if data is out, then what do you do? What else do you have left? What do you think?
What
You
do
just have to
what
go.
do I think? Oh, that's a great question. These
Yeah,
never
what do you
usually
think?
would
What would you
these
do?
these never get turned back on me. You have to go and create your own alpha. You can't just go and find it, right? And so, what
Yeah.
would I do if I was in your position? You go and find that talent. You meet them where they are. You go and put on events that allow them to go and flourish inside of it, and you spend time deeply understanding those individuals. You host hackathons. You host supper clubs. You do whatever you've got to do to meet those individuals where they are and find those patterns. How close am I?
Yeah, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. But then if you think about traditional conferences and going to all these networking events for founders and VCs to meet, the chances are you're going to meet more VCs there than the founders. That's just the
It's like every conference ever.
yeah, exactly. So you have it's basically us gathering together to chat with each other and catch up on things, like which is amazing. And the industry is very small, so you kind of don't really have many colleagues. So it's kind of nice to see each other once in a while. I think about it as like annual gathering of everyone in the industry to just kind of see how everyone is doing and how everyone's department is performing. But
The
in
Imperial
another way,
Council coming together.
yeah, exactly. Ethereal accounts are coming together to just discuss what's been brewing in the space and what we should do next. But yeah, I think like my way of thinking about it and like where I actually find most like joy and pleasure, and I still get to like really experience like the true personalities is um going to hackathons. And that's like my way of doing it, because nobody in my team was like doing it as much, and I don't think many VCs really could be bothered of going and spending like their own weekend, the whole weekend, sitting around the founders and trying to build together with them, even when it's like vibe coding hackathons where anyone can build anything nowadays, right? I find it like super cool because maybe because I've been in the operating side before, I still have that tinkling of like, ooh, that sounds cool. Like, how do we do that? But other way about it is that just like purely like sitting there having lunches, like talking to people when they're in their most low and high at this point in time, when they're tired, exhausted, have had many problems that didn't work the way they had to be worked, and then they start opening up and asking you real questions they always wanted to ask, which most of the people are just like shy or like they think it's not important, and they kind of look at the VCs most of the time as vultures coming to feed on them. So nobody really wants to talk to us. It's like the Dark Lord is coming back, right? Nobody wants to meet him and have a coffee chat because it's perceived as there's some hidden agenda there. But so yeah, so going to these hackathons and really talking to founders when they are being truly themselves, like building companies, is I think the best thing for me, and I really enjoy it, and that's what I'm gonna do more and more of going forward as well.
Okay, what do you look for? I think that for every VC, my thesis is that you all look for like a different nuance within the person. Obviously, the idea is one thing, and like the market size, etc. But the
Yeah.
individual at a pre-seed and a kind of like pre-rev stage is very much that. It's very much the individual that you're betting on. What do you look
Yeah.
for in the individual to make those bets?
It's really dependent on the individual, but I think we look for quirkiness, the absolute quirkiness of why you're doing what you're doing right now, and why it's driving you to wake up every morning and go to your scrappy lab or your scrappy garage or maybe a very fancy office to work after hours. Like why are you like what drives you? So I think that's just the fundamental thing of like, when people start thinking like, why am I here, like why am I in this world, you kind of go very, very deep into philosophical realm of existence and the meaning in life, and then you kind of drill down to like the basic reasons of why you're doing what you're doing. So I think at the very fundamental level, we just look for people that are super curious about the world and they're building something that they're super excited about. And if they're not gonna do this, they're gonna like basically explode kind of vibe. Of course, not always. Sometimes people just get really frustrated with the problem they have at work and they're like, that's it. I'm leaving. I'm building this myself because you guys didn't give me an approval to do it in the office. So like I can't live with myself anymore like this. So, there's like a cracking point. A very dramatic cracking point, and a lot of people come out and make great companies out of it. So I think that's exciting. I think you have to look for this passion no matter what the age or location or the gender or ethnicity of the person is. You have to have that like as the first number one driving point, because if the founder gives up, the company is dead, right? If the founder is like, even if everything is going to the lowest point possible, if the founder is driven to like figure it out, they will. It's just a matter of time and the problem and solution that you can come up with.
How important is understanding the technical capabilities of what an individual is building, as it is to just understand the operating model that exists around it?
I think it's a mix of two, actually. Sometimes people are extremely good builders, but they have no idea how to run a business, and that's like absolutely way to think about it. Like if you have a problem, you want to apply a solution, then it just happens to be that this solution is very much sought and seeked by a lot of people around the country and the industry that really wants the same thing. So I think people don't really have to have either or. I think they just basically choose whatever is best for them, and then they go their own way, and then they learn everything else on the go. So I think there's just like there's no right way of doing it. Everyone is just uniquely excited about something specific. So if I'm really good at building companies, it doesn't mean I have great ideas. So it's like I can build a great company in theory, but like, can I actually solve something really real that people are really struggling with? I don't know. So, but if you have a person that's like, oh, this is bothering me so much, I'm gonna spend 15 years building this out, and like, then he's like, oh, actually, I can sell this, but I'm gonna hire someone that's gonna do it for me. So because I don't have the skills to do that, and that's okay. But I was just so obsessed about building it out, and it just kind of stumbled upon being a company. So, yeah.
What are the quirks that you like in your founders?
I think it's again, there's no one that is similar to each other,
Oh, but
right? But
VCs are great at pattern recognition, from what I understand. It's like you understand and you sort of tap into the patterns before everyone else that allows you to make these bets. For you, what are those?
yeah, I mean, I think for us, like the paramount thing of Byfounders is like, since we are pre-seed seed fund, like we come in as early as just the idea and two people working together on something, right? Or like a one co-founder working on with like someone else to help him build his dream. And most of the time, there's nothing besides the team. So for us, like the primary point of view is like we really like deeply hone in on like what is it makes this person special, like has there been any examples of him being or her being like specifically driven in the past, not related to what they're selling right now, to go miles and like outside of the box to solve and do something, whether you've been like an incredible athlete and you couldn't like stop persevering something very specific, whether you actually became a chess champion despite the fact that you're not working with chess anymore. So like there's like some telltale signs that the person doesn't really think conventionally. Not necessarily, even if he does think conventionally, he still has the innate ability to do something outside of the ask or outside of the norm for their own good, right? And for their for everyone else's good. But it just has to be very, you have to have this crazy passion and curiosity to go forward, because there's nothing like, literally, you can take the best athlete and you can give him all the best tools, you can give him all the best equipment, you can have the best nutritionists, sports coaches, whatever you want. If he mentally doesn't want to do it, like nobody's going to make him a world champion, right? Like, just that's it.
What's the
It's all
investing
about.
thesis at Byfounders then?
So we are basically by founders for founders, right? So the name is very basic in the way of telling like what we really focus on, and we are very much hands-on approach fund. So we invest in pre-seed, seed, and we're a generalist fund, and we are specifically backing Nordic and Baltic founders all around the world. So we are like kind of honing in on this deep kind of, we saw it as a missed space for people to really invest early stage, because we have some incredible unicorns coming from Nordics, and 10 years back nobody was looking at Sweden and thinking that's the next unicorn minting factory, but now it's
Oh,
becoming,
it's
because
Valhalla.
generations have changed, right? Generations have changed, and like incredible companies come out of it, like Spotify and Klarna have matured properly. Now we have things like Lovable and Strawberry and many more companies coming out of Sweden, like Neko Health, and that's just the kind of like a proliferation of things rolling around. So when we started, like when our founding partner Eric started, like almost 10 years ago, it was basically that he wanted to really do a couple of things. And the first thing was like Byfounders for founders. He didn't really see a fund that would really help founders hands down with everything they had besides the capital. So the one requirement for us is basically all of us in our team have been founders or operators ourselves at very, very initial stages of before we joined the fund as VC investors. And even our finance team or operations team, like everyone has been the founder or like worked in the startup before. So people like are very hands down and we're very flat structure, right? So everyone is doing everything. You see, sometimes you see partners like carrying out boxes and you're like, why are you doing this? Like, yeah, I just want to make sure everything's perfect. So it's a very flat structure in that way. So we really are like try to be as happy and as friendly with each other and teach each other as much as possible, no matter like where you stand in the food chain, as they put it. But investment side of things, we are generalist funds, so we back anything from Lovable, where we led their pre-seed, to Monta, to Quirky, to like a lot of fundamentally great companies. So we have a very much general like sector approach. We just focus on Nordic and Baltic founders, where we see we have most of the strengths in, because we have our collective members, which are a collective of 40 plus unicorn ex-founder or operators from the Nordics and the Baltics, and we really try to hone in and bring in that knowledge to our portfolio companies as early as IC investments, right? So um, we just play our strengths, and I think that's really paying off so far.
Why do you think that is? Like, why do you feel like there's a Valhalla existing in what the world is calling Silicon Valhalla in the Nordics at this point in time?
Why it's existing, or like how we
How
got there
we've got to
essentially.
this stage? What's your understanding of it?
I think like I don't know, 10 years ago most of people thought that if you want to have a fundamental tech career, you have to go to Silicon Valley, and that was given. And I think it's still true, but now more and more people are actually deciding to stay back and build fundamental companies in these like incredibly cool hotspots like Stockholm and London and Frankfurt, whatever you might be. I think essentially people are deciding that, okay, since the world is becoming more global, I can really hire top talent. And, even when it comes to working online, people can tune in and really work on your company from anywhere they might be, right? So I think the in person presence has been kind of alleviated during COVID. But now I don't know why how you see it and how you actually think about it, but more and more companies are now building in person as well. So I think we got to this point that we had like incredibly early bets in Nordics and in Europe that worked out, and these fundamentally gifted founders decided to really like show a good example of how you can truly become a founder, a generational founder, without leaving your own country. And we have incredible companies, Spotify and Klarna, and like many more in Europe. And London is a great example of how connected ecosystem can build like fun generational companies and incredible tech bubbles or like tech hubs for people to build and grow. And of course that's also fostered by the talent of density of talent or great universities. So you can't really just take that, some great people have built companies and they came back to help the others. It's more to do with like great universities, and willingness for people to take risk. Actually, I think now is the time where young people, when I was finishing university, everyone was talking like, oh, we need to get the corporate job, and that is considered success, right? Like I don't know, maybe my university is a very, very specific example, but at least that's what I've seen, that everyone is talking about, like going to great school and then going to a great company was like success. Now a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, like why do I even have to go to school if I can learn everything myself and have a company I always wanted to have, or create something I always wanted to do? So it's changing significantly. And I think the young generation is more or less like realizing that the success doesn't really mean 9 to 5 working in the corporate. It means doing something you're really excited about. And I think that is kind of translating into, people deciding to take different paths and staying home and building companies with their friends. And, these friends happen to live next to you and you have to be working in your own country. And you see some incredible role models around. So you're like, hey, if they can do it, I don't think they're anything special than me. I'm gonna do it. I know this guy went to the same school as I did. Like, why can I have a, something? Or maybe sometimes you're just pushed by someone telling you can do it, and then that can do it attitude really translates into you being extremely motivated. At least that can do attitude is more like, oh, you can do it or you shouldn't do it. This is not normal. Is more, I think it's more prone in Europe. Like in America, everyone is super cheerful for you to pursue your own passions. And I think we should learn more of that in Europe. And I think now we clearly are seeing the signs of people like actually being like, oh, you're telling me I can't do it, well, I'm gonna prove you wrong, or you know what, I'm deciding to go my own way. And I think we are seeing many great examples of that actually now.
I completely agree. I couldn't have more conviction in what you've just said. Yeah, Europe is an incredible place to build, and we definitely have a culture of not taking risks, I think is the best way to put it. And that we need to inspire a generation to take risks. And to do that, it requires understanding that there is an ecosystem here that gets behind you if you choose to have conviction in yourself.
Exactly. And you have like a lot of incredibly motivated people that are saying, you know what, we can do it together. You don't have to do it alone. And I think that, proliferation of people coming together really helps you, because you realize you're not the only one thinking differently. You have Steve and Mike and someone else from the school that you've seen around, and they really want to do something incredible, and you can like join in that bandwagon and be like, oh, you're doing this, I'm going to try something else. And even in even the people that decide to go for a corporate career and go to university, they then go to realize that you can meet some incredible people at your workplace and start a company with them. You don't have to be in the same place for 20 years and then retire, and that's like your whole career. You can be a bit more creative and solve problems as you go. So I think it's just a generational shift in everything at all. Of course, like a combination of tech becoming much more available and much more cheaper than ever before for you to have a company. So I think it's exciting time to be alive, right? Like we're seeing an incredible pace of everything. Like I don't think people back in the 80s thought that we could actually order pizza on their phone without calling anyone, but now it's given. Like we don't even think about it. It's like, yeah, whatever. Like
It does like it's I if they were if we were back there then we would probably look at the world very differently. I think it's one of the beautiful
yeah.
things of history. We hindsight's 2020. We can look at the past and take those amazing things and bring them forward into the future. Europe has always lagged behind the US when it comes to building the most incredible companies on the planet. Whether that's OpenAI building out of the US, but Europe having this beautiful inference layer that we're building out. I'd love to understand from your point of view, what do you think VC as a whole has to do to make sure that we capitalize on this opportunity to get on par or even leapfrog in certain aspects of the AI stack, so to speak?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Or you
Let
guys
me
aren't
think.
just you aren't just deployers of capital, you're thinkers as well.
No, no, of course. I think a great example is, of course, talking about that it's an opportunity in the first place. So, like, everyone really going back to their schools and telling them, hey, my job is this, and this is what I do every day. And I, like, maybe I was living under the rock for a while, but I didn't know it was a thing 5 years ago. I didn't even think about it like that way, that you can actually work in tech but not be a developer, or like you can actually work in finance and not be a developer, but now you can actually work for a fintech and be a developer and vice versa. So I think VCs just really have to say, hey guys, you know what? Founders are doing their share of work talking about their fundamentally great companies, and they're going out, they're building, they're like the risk takers. Like we're just watching them from the benches being like, go team, like we're gonna help you. But of course, like we help them as much as we can, and some of the times you go in and out. Like some people come back from operational background of being a founder, join a VC, and then go back to being a founder. And that's kind of like I think it's like a revolving door. Nobody's actually like restricted from doing that, but in doing so you really like bring in some skill set and knowledge to the other side and come back. And I think if this combined collective of people can start being like, we should really improve the education system and talk about it like early on, that you don't have to learn these things if you don't think this is going to actually be helpful for you. You should really like hone in on your skills and like your passions and your creativity. You shouldn't be fitting in this tiny box and being like, this is your life forever. And I think educational system still needs to catch up on that point of view, because people are being taught different things that are not going to be really relevant in real life. Like I don't know how is your school, but I don't think we've ever learned about what is finance and why we need this, and how you save for a mortgage, and how do you pay taxes, and like how to become a founder. Like what does it mean to be a founder? Like what is a career option if you don't go to university? Like nobody talks about it. Everyone's like, yeah, you have to do this and this and this, and this is how your parents went, and your grandparents, and the ones before you as well. So you kind of don't even have the, hey guys, like why are we doing that? Like there's no questioning of it. So maybe there should be just like specific changes in that space first, so people come out of it being like, okay, I know my options, I know I can do this, I can do this, I can go in between, and I don't have to like put myself in a box. But yeah, I think we just have to talk about it more than ever. And I see like a massive shift, and maybe it's because I follow more of a tech stuff nowadays than before. But I see like a massive shift of people coming out and be like, you know what, I'm quitting my job. I want to have a tech media company. You know what, I want to be like a VJ, and I want to have my own streaming company where I talk to incredible people. Like, did anyone ever give you this idea when you're in primary school, or saying like you can be a person without going to university? Like, can you be a journalist without being a university student? No, I don't think so. But now they're like, who cares?
Exactly. Before we let you go, I've got two questions. One,
Yeah.
who is in your opinion, one of the best by founder VCs inside of the company?
Ooh, so you're trying to say I have to put a name saying who's the best investor in our team, so then everyone else who was not named is gonna throw rocks at me. Are you kidding me?
Okay, talk broad strokes then. If there's one that we have to speak to on the show, who's it got to be?
Oh, I think you should definitely bring in Magnus. He's a very interesting person. So he's a true VC, as I see in my viewpoint, and you have to learn specific skill sets from him, and that's why I'm really like, I have a lot of pleasure learning from him every day when I talk to him. And you just learn differently about things you never thought would exist. So I think he's definitely by far, like, when you sometimes you see people and you're like, okay, I see why he's a VC person. Like, I see why he's a VC person in all the best possible ways as well.
And then last question. On the Byfounders website, as we were doing research for this show, it says you're interested in B2B SaaS. Why?
Well, I don't think it's purely B2B SaaS. I think it's just like generally B2B products that are connecting the software. So, SaaS is not purely dead. As people are talking like, oh, SaaS is like over, like we don't need any of these platforms anymore.
Software is now
But
fungible, a lot of people are saying, right?
yeah, exactly. I mean, you still create software as a service depending on whatever you're building. Whether that's like you creating a lovable of the world, like it is a software as a service because you're building software with the software, and then people are creating products with that, right? So if you think about it, like you take any company, and most of them are software as a service or like a software company. So it's of course like it's a changing space. We are seeing more and more hardware companies, and I'm super excited about that because I also started looking into defense tech and deep tech stuff, and we see more than ever before a lot of hardware companies merging with software companies or SaaS companies to create fundamentally incredible products, right? So I think it's one of those things that just keeps on evolving, and you can call it whatever you want, but eventually it will become like, agentic embedded AI, and that is what does that mean? And then when you start drilling into it, you like realize, okay, it's just like AI agent using a website platform to really go and do different things, and then take data, provide it to you, so you can log into interface and then check it out. So it's again SaaS or software, whatever you want to call it. So eventually, I think it's one and the same thing.
I love it. I'm going to let you get back to watching Lord of the Rings and deploying this capital in the best way possible. This has been an absolute
Yeah.
pleasure. I can't wait to have another conversation around the defense tech comment that we just had.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, we're going
We
to
are
get you.
looking to it positively, and I think everyone is super excited about the space lately. I think I think there was a recent report by Deal Room, and they were like talking how much capital is flowing into deep tech and like defense tech specifically.
Oh, we've got some defense tech people coming on the show. I'm looking forward to getting them on because it's a space that I don't always understand and definitely want to learn more about. Where can they find you online?
You can always message me on LinkedIn, or I think that's the easiest way to get to anyone in the space, or just like shoot me an email on Byfounders platform. Like very easy on the website. We always have emails down there. But yeah, happy to chat with anyone in the conference, in anything you see me. Just hey, challenge me on different things, even if it's Lord of the Rings.
This has been an absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward to doing it again. Thanks so much for the time.